It's Bengals and Steelers on Saturday night as Cincinnati looks to keep their season alive. Do I think they'll beat their division rival? What do I think is going to happen on Sunday? Let's preview a huge weekend as the Bengals try to squeak their way in to the playoffs. We'll dive into it right now on Cincinnati Bengals Talk. Hi again, everyone, and welcome in to CBT. I'm James Rapien of BengalsTalk.com. Make sure you check out BengalsTalk.com. Make sure you hit that subscribe button as we inch closer to 51,000 subs here in 2025. We appreciate each and every one of you. And if you're looking for Bengals coverage content, well, we didn't take a break on New Year's Eve. Enter the Jungle came out as Tuesday, as it always does, at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So make sure you check that out if you didn't. And Joe Burrow had a message for the front office. I reacted to that as well on New Year's Day. But let's get into this matchup. And by the way, today's video is brought to you by BetUS. So shout out to BetUS for sponsoring this video. Let's get into this matchup. And let's start here. This game means a lot, and not just for the playoffs. I think it matters. One, it's not like the draft position is going to change and fluctuate a bunch with a loss versus a win, whether you're 8-9 or 9-8. You don't make the playoffs, the worst you're going to pick is 18th. Right now, the Bengals are 16th, so I'm not really worried about that. Some might be, I'm not. If the Bengals win, it would be their fourth straight winning season, which, let's be honest, the bar is much higher than that right now. But from a franchise standpoint, they've only done that once in team history. And that's wild to say. And I've been on that this week, and I've tried to say that as much as possible because I do think it's significant. I do, and the bar has changed, and the expectations have certainly changed. And coming into this season, you had thoughts of Lombardi, not thoughts of a winning season. But if they get to 9-8, it would be their fourth straight winning season. They've only done that once in team history, from 2011 to 2015, and so it would be big if they're able to do that. I think they're certainly in position to do that. Joe Burrow told me after their game against the Denver Broncos that he thinks they have the best offense in the league. And who am I to question him? And yet, every time I think about this matchup with the Steelers, it's twofold. It's not like Cleveland or even Denver, where you can see that they have like at least one elite secondary player, right? Denzel Ward in Cleveland, obviously Pat Surtain and in Denver. And when you have that and you have a pass rush, and both of those teams do, it's scary. The Steelers don't really have an elite corner. They do have an elite safety in Minka who's all over, and their pass rush, they can just throw bodies at Joe and throw bodies at this offensive front. And Amarius Mims is going to be less than 100%. Orlando Brown Jr. going to be less than 100%. So we'll see on those guys. But to me, and I do think both are trending in the right direction. Orlando is going to play. I know that. But it's going to be a cold, bone-chilling 22 degrees at kickoff. And so keeping Joe upright is first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th on my list. It just is. And then after that, there's so many other things, right? As far as this defense, I've, especially on Locked On Bengals, I've made fun of Jermaine Pratt because after that Pittsburgh game, the first one on December 1st, he talked about quick game. And Russell Wilson threw for 414 yards. And he's like, oh, it's a quick game. It's just quick game. I don't care what game it is. You got to find a way to do the basic things. And I've been trying to hammer this home. Do the basic things defensively. And so on offense, if you keep Joe upright, he's going to find the open guy. Whether it's Jamar Chase as he is on the hunt for the Triple Crown. Andre Yosevich has had some big moments. Obviously, T. Higgins had a huge game last week and has a career high for touchdowns, is 5 catches away for a career high in receptions. Could certainly get that this week. And who knows, maybe he gets to 1,000 yards if he puts up another $130 plus performance like he did last week. But regardless, on defense, it needs to flip. And you need to be the opposite of what you were on December 1st. Do the basic things. And not just force turnovers, because they did that. They had the pick six to start the game. But force turnovers, tackle, be in the right position. Because if you're in the right position and you're tackling and you're making the Steelers dink and dunk it and slowly move their way downfield, and you don't get beat deep, and you're not giving up, turning a 6-yard play into a 16-yard play, if you're not doing that, well, then guess what's going to happen? the Steelers are going to make a mistake. And they've done that in recent weeks. They've made mistakes. Russell Wilson's fumbled. He's thrown interceptions, all of those things. You got to be opportunistic if you're this defense. Lou Anarumo's job certainly could be on the line, hanging in the balance. I think a lot of people coaching and playing for their jobs still, despite this 4-game winning streak. Up next, my thoughts on this game, my prediction, and if I think the Bengals are going to get some help on Sunday. Today's show is brought to you by BetUS. Make sure you get to BetUS today. Use code YouTube150. You'll get a 150% bonus on your first deposit up to $2,000. So maybe you think that the Bengals are going to handle business. They are 1-point favorites. Get in on the action. Maybe you think it's going to be the other way, and you think it's going to be the Bengals win, but then they don't get help from the Chiefs, or that the Steelers win, but they don't get help from insert whoever. You could go a bunch of different ways. Heck, you could do a parlay. You think the Ravens are going to roll the Browns, which I think everybody does. Pick the Ravens. Plus, you could parlay that or put that together with the Bengals result if you wanted to. So there's plenty of options, limitless options with BetUS. Use code YouTube150 to get a 150% bonus on your first deposit up to $2,000. I think the Bengals find a way to get this game and improve to 9-8. I think it's going to be ugly. I think it's going to be one of those weird games where they have a few turnovers, but they're just playing at a high level right now. And I think Joe, Jamar, T, heck, or Orlando Brown Jr., Andre Yosevich, Mike Gesicki, I think these guys are in a real groove right now. And the defense has been better. Not great, but better. And so when you see that growth, you see that improvement from a defense, all right, it's going to get tested a little bit. At the same time, the Steelers offense isn't some crazy offense. Don't get beat over the top. George Pickens, Calvin Austin specifically. Those are the two guys that I'd be paying attention to. You can't let Pat Freiermuth break a bunch of tackles or anything like that, or Najee Harris or Jaylen Warren. Just tackle, be disciplined, do the basic things. And if you do those two things, don't get beat deep and do the basic things, tackle, you're in the right spot. You're not giving up a bunch of yak after the fact. I think the Steelers make a mistake or two, and you're going to be in position to take advantage of that. So it's simple, but it's much, much easier said than done. I think the Bengals get it right more than they don't. And I think Lou has a little bit of a mad science vibe and gets a little bit more out of this defense, especially in a must-win, gotta-have-it moment. So I think the Bengals will win. I think it'll be close, probably lower scoring. The Bengals have to score 24 points to be the number one scoring team in franchise history. I do think they get there. I think they get exactly 24 points. They win 24-20 in Pittsburgh to extend their season. I'm just not sure they get the help they need. And I think I've thought about this a lot. Like, I could see one of the two going their way. Like, it wouldn't shock me if Carson Wentz plays well. He's auditioning for the rest of the league. But is Carson Wentz going to play well, lead the Chiefs to victory, plus the Jets find a way to upset the Dolphins? And I think that Chiefs-Broncos game is going to be close. And I think the Broncos find a way to win that game. They're a resilient bunch. We saw that last week. I mean, the Bengals kept delivering haymakers, and Bo Nix and company, they rallied, and they didn't flinch on the road. They'll be at home. They're going up against some backups. So I think the Broncos edge out the Chiefs. And if I had to guess, I think the Jets might get the Dolphins. I really do. I don't think the Dolphins are that good. And I've been waiting on that. I thought the 49ers would beat them a few weeks ago, and that did not happen. The Browns are a dumpster fire with DTR. Otherwise, I think that they, if with a decent quarterback, would have won last week, or certainly been more competitive. You have a backup in Tyler Huntley, but he's able to manage that offense and gives them a higher floor than past backups have for the Dolphins. So we'll see. We're going to have you covered, win, lose, draw. The plan is to go live after the game on Saturday night. Regardless, we're going to have a video for you. We're going to have coverage for you here on Cincinnati Bengals Talk. If you want to read what we're putting out as well, and there's a ton, always, multiple articles per day, bengalstalk.com. Hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, check out our sponsor, BetUS. And for Andrew Foxmiller, I'm James Rapien. Thank you so much for watching Cincinnati Bengals Talk.
Here we are, week 18, not one regular season game where the team wasn't playing for something. Assuming Carson Wentz is at quarterback for the Chiefs, Bengals fans should know that, like, Wentz, he has a charity, he has a foundation out there. Just saying, if he ends up beating the Broncos, and he's a big reason, like the Dalton and Buffalo scenario, let's everybody donate $11 to his foundation. Just a thought, I'm gonna throw it out there.